You're cursed with being highly ambitious with lots of dreams and goals. The first thing I want you to do is force yourself to watch this video to completion. If you can do that without scrolling, that is your first step. I know exactly what it feels like when you wake up in the morning with all of these goals, all the ambition, all the motivation in the world, and then you end the day with nothing to show for it. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just trapped in a system that was designed to make you feel that way. I know this video is meant to be a masterclass on how to achieve in school, how to start strong, and ultimately get you back some of your free time. Because the more efficient you are, the more time you're gonna have to actually enjoy life and do things that you want to do. So without further ado, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that we can get into unlearning what the school system has taught you so that you can finally move past that first step. In a world where productivity YouTubers rise like gods, Ali Abdaal clones flood your feed with Notion dashboards, and every study tip video promises the same recycled nonsense. There exists you. The student who doesn't want to become a productivity monk. The student who's tired of planners stacked higher than their tuition debt. The student who just wants to win school without losing their sanity. This video is not your typical productivity guide. This is the lazy person's playbook for people who don't want perfection but just want results, who just want to get a little bit better every single day. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. School was never designed to teach you how to become self-sufficient. The mentality that they want you to believe is that you have to grind harder, suffer, and burn out in order to be successful. But what students don't realize is that's just manipulation. Success does not come from working harder. It comes from working smarter and making small shifts that compound into making massive results. So today, I'm breaking down productivity YouTubers' secrets and philosophies, things that they really just don't want you to know. Ali Abdaal built a $4 million brand on one simple thing, and that is active recall. Videos like How I Study for Exams Effectively and The Productivity System That Changed My Life each have millions of views because he teaches science-backed methods that actually stick. And the reason why this works is because memory is really strengthened by retrieval. Every time you actively try to recall information or retrieve a fact from your brain, you create stronger neural connections. During my first semester of college as a pre-med student, I spent a good 6 to 9 hours in the library every single Saturday because I was trying to convince myself that by rereading or rewriting the information, it was somehow gonna stick. Surprise, surprise, it never worked out for me. I didn't learn until I started watching productivity YouTubers that there is indeed a scientific way to help your brain memorize information better. A lot of these productivity YouTubers make you feel like you need to be perfect, that you need to use Anki, you have to buy this AI tool, and you have to study a certain way. But rarely do they ever show how to actually implement these tips naturally into your everyday life. Forget flashcards, forget Anki, forget 100 questions study guides. You can sit in your bed and simply cover your notes. Then ask yourself questions and then recite the answers out loud. One question, one answer, 5 minutes, and you're done. The secret that these productivity YouTubers don't let you in on is that active recall can also happen when you're walking your dog, doing the dishes, or even making your coffee. Science even calls this contextual retrieval. Your brain actually remembers information better when you pair the information with an activity or a movement. As much as I love Ali Abdaal and his productivity kingdom, his videos make productivity and achieving your goals seem glamorous, when in reality, the core secret is minimal time, maximal retrieval. And because I am a freaking lazy person 24/7, I look through productivity through a different lens, and that is our lazy but genius angle. You might hate me for this one, but we're gonna talk about Thomas Frank, who is another king of productivity. He has videos like the 5 productivity systems that will change your life. He shows perfect Notion dashboards that literally took him like 5 hours to make. And he has color-coded planners. It's beautiful, yes, but is that practical for a lazy student? It didn't work for me. Thomas Frank really hones in on mind mapping, and I agree. It is so important to use mind mapping when you're studying because it is a perfect visual way to organize information. Mind maps create visual links between concepts, which helps the brain remember and organize complex information. But you have to remember that when you make a mind map, it doesn't need to be perfect. A messy mind map is still way more effective than rereading your notes. Forget Notion, forget fancy notes that you know took way too long for you to write. All you have to do is grab one sheet of paper, write the topic in the middle, draw some arrows, connect topics, and try to explain them on the piece of paper in your own words. It doesn't have to be neat, it just has to exist because your brain will actually organize it automatically. If you really want to be a little bit less lazy, you can use colors if you want, but don't stress because if you use a pen or a pencil, anything is fine. You can use mind mapping when you're just reviewing for an exam. It doesn't have to be after every single class that you have. 15 minutes per subject is huge for your retention. Thomas Frank gets retention from contrast. Messy versus being polished and the perfect productive person. But people like me who are lazy as we're taking the messy angle because it's faster, it's easier, and it makes you feel like you're actually done without hours of meticulous writing. The next thing we're going to talk about is time blocking by another productivity YouTuber, Matt Vieira. He teaches minimalism and time blocking everything in a schedule. It's basically like a lifestyle art at this rate. He has 30-day challenges and cinematic videos that make it look effortless. But here's the science. Blocking your time helps reduce decision fatigue, prevents procrastination, and actually increases focus. You don't need to schedule your entire life. Because in reality, we both know, you and I both know that sometimes things come up, things get in the way and your schedule just falls apart. The secret here is pick 2 to 3 hours when you're most awake and most productive and commit to your hardest tasks during that window. When I was in college, I was very productive around the hours of like 10 to 1 p.m. And that's when I would structure all of my really focused work time. Doing that allowed me to get the most difficult tasks during my week out of the way. In that way, I was also able to plan other things around my schedule that I also enjoyed, like going to the gym, hanging out with friends. So moral of the story, you don't have to exactly be like Matt Vieira. You can still structure your schedule without having everything planned out during your day. Sometimes over-planning can get overwhelming. And as a self-proclaimed lazy productivity girl, I can tell you that looking through productivity through a lazy lens has really helped me decrease feelings of anxiety and feeling overwhelmed with striving to be a perfect, productive person. I think that's the second time I've said that in this video. That's weird. Matt has a great cinematic style. He has awesome storytelling, and he's so aspirational. You can mirror that a little bit by filming yourself when you're studying or when you're really focused on a task. As a reminder, you don't need to be perfect. You do not need to time block every single part of your day, because here we're focusing on productive, not perfect. Another one of my favorite study hacks is something called body doubling, and it's actually a psychological phenomenon that helps you stay focused. One YouTuber that comes to mind, it's actually Mariana's Study With Me videos. And these videos that she makes hit millions of views because they create something called shared accountability. The secret is simple. Your brain works better when someone else is nearby, even virtually, but you don't actually need to watch her 2-hour-long lo-fi videos. FaceTime a friend, open your books, and silently work together. That's it. It's super simple. You can even join a Discord or a virtual study group where you can just leave your camera on while doing work at home. You're exploiting the same psychology that Mariana uses, but without needing fancy filming, music, or any aesthetic setups. Because let's be real, I'm filming in my pajamas. I'm lazy. When it comes to body doubling, the energy of having someone nearby to hold you accountable is the only thing that you need to actually stop procrastinating, and is one of my tried and true tips. Try going to a coffee shop. There are tons of people there. And if you get off task, know that I'm sitting in a corner behind you, staring at your screen. How's that for peer pressure? The last thing I'm going to talk about today is not a tip, but it is more of a theory. The theory is called revenge bedtime procrastination, and you may or may not have heard of it before. Everyone experiences 2 to 3 hour scrolling sessions where you're on your bed, you're scrolling, and suddenly you look at the timer and it's freaking 2 a.m. You know, we've all been there. Productivity YouTubers ignore this. They don't talk about it enough. But at the end of the day, as our society is becoming more and more reliant on our cell phones, the reason why we stay up late and scroll for hours and hours is because we're trying to reclaim a sense of autonomy. There are productivity influencers who talk about bricking your phone. There's actually, I think it's an app or some sort of product that will turn your phone off and completely shut it down so that you don't get tempted to use your phone. However, as someone who is highly addicted to their phone like me and is super lazy and who loves to watch Netflix all the time, making a big change like that can be so dramatic. It can have a butterfly effect. Here's what I would do looking through this issue through a lazy lens. Don't fight it. Schedule guilt-free breaks in the evening. It'll let your brain feel more independent during the day, so bedtime doesn't feel like it's a rebellion. For example, you could scroll on your phone after dinner for 30 or 15 minutes, then lights out. You'll sleep better and still be productive during the day. Or you could even pair this strategy with time blocking earlier in the day. Your brain feels structured and liberated at the same time. And if you don't think you can spend the majority of your day without your phone, what I like to do is take mini reward breaks. And that is something that is priming my brain and acting as kind of like a dopamine hit or a reward. Say if I do like an hour of editing, I'll take a 5 to 10 minute break, I'll set a timer, I'll enjoy scrolling on my phone or on YouTube Shorts. And then that process repeats. All right, I have one question for you. Did you make it to the end of this video? If you did, then you just proved to yourself that you can focus without overdoing it. Your next step is to take one of these lazy genius hacks and try it today. Make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm gonna go take a nap.